The karma for your enemies. Pick a card. Here are your piles. We'll see you in your reading. Hi, Pile One. Welcome to your reading. Let's find out, what is your enemy's karma for hurting you? Their karma is that they feel lost, they have depression, they feel hopeless because you ended something with them. You basically either had a divorce, you ghosted them, had some type of separation. I'm getting ex-wife, ex-husband, ex-friend, um, uh, leaving past people from a community where there was a separation that took place. So you have these people feeling lost and feeling sad and hopeless because you left. They really think, well, they're being delusional and they think that you're just taking a vacay from them. It's a vacation, or you're just taking a break. This is the delusion that's in their head because they don't want to accept the ending. They are disturbed by the fact that, because I'm getting puzzled here, so they're puzzled by the fact that you're over here just smelling the roses and just chilling and relaxing. And that's why they're puzzled, is because there was a separation. You're just chilling and smelling the roses. And they're just like, wait, I'm confused and I feel sad. Your enemies are feeling like, oh, wow, they realize they made bad choices. They played a lot of games with you. They tried to present themselves as if someone, ex-husband, ex-wife, they loved you and they were treating you badly. Or a friend group where they played games. They wanted to one-up you, compete with you, treat you like trash. And then in the next breath, oh, I want to support you at your birthday. Now they feel due to their bad choices, they feel heartbroken. They're feeling these nightmares. They can't sleep. They feel like a failure and shattered because here you are, Pile One, being hopeful and successful and optimistic about your life because you know what you put out, you get back. So when you put out good things, you get good things in return. You put out bad things, you get bad things in return. And they're kind of disturbed, like, why, how is it that you're peaceful and happy right now? So they're shattered because they made bad choices, and they're shattered because you're optimistic and peaceful. They realized that they were being narcissistic, having egotistical qualities, and being an opportunist. Maybe they wanted to use you. Maybe you benefited them in the friend group in some way, shape, or form through your energy. People liked you, made their group more richer. But their ego's fragile. So you being in their presence made them feel threatened. And so, you know, their karma is that they feel burned out due to their narcissism, because they was being sneaky behind the scenes, plotting and scheming and figuring out what can we do to make them feel bad about themselves. And now their emotions are every which way. They're in balance. They don't know whether they're going or coming. They're also feeling like, wow, they're missing you. So ex-wife, ex-husband, ex-friend group, ex-community that you left, they're missing you because they remember like, wow, we had good times with Power One Collective. We really did. They were some good peoples. But now they're feeling insecure. They're feeling guarded and cautious and paranoid. Um, they had a realization and an epiphany that, you were a good person. You had positive energy and gentleness and nurturing towards them, right? But then they realized all they were a two-faced, backstabbing trash bag. That's all they were. So your enemy's karma is that they're trapped. They feel stuck because they realize like, wow, I messed up. So their life caused a lot of chaos because, they feel trapped. They feel like their life is chaotic. And they have these feelings. They could have had these feelings while they were around you, where they were feeling trapped, and they feel them now that they're no longer around you. And then they're feeling more of the chaos for the simple fact that now you left them. So, right? So you leaving them caused there to be some type of justice in the situation. It could also mean that they are having some type of legal issues. It could be issues around the divorce. It could be issues around settlements. It could be issues around them not paying for things. You know, creditors are going after them legally, and they're stressed out and trapped about the situation. They're having nostalgia and they're thinking about the past when they were connected to you and thinking that maybe they can get a second chance, right? Because they remember you had good vibes. You were good vibes. It was a good time with you. Yeah, it was a good time, but you treated Power One Collective like trash. So what did you expect to happen? Your enemies are all, they're feeling resentful because of, because of their envy. They were jealous of you, Power One Collective. They just were like, we want to compete and one up Power One Collective because Power One Collective thinks that they're all that in a bag of chips. And you probably are. That's why they're mad. And they wanted to compete with you. So, because of their envy, they let that just take over. And that competition, they were no longer your friend. They were no longer on your team. They were no longer your partner because of all that envy. And they made these bad decisions and they tried to cope with their negative energy that they had inside of them. And they started having all these addictions, spending all this money frivolously, putting them into these lawsuits. Being reckless with, maybe their sexuality, being reckless with how they were being with a lot of different people, with no protection and just with randoms, going into clubs and just having drinks and just partying and not really, saving money since we're in this economy right now. Not really saving for the future, just living for today instead of thinking about tomorrow. And then I'm getting they're in their feelings now because you left them out in the cold and you gave them the silent treatment and closed out a cycle with them. So they feel some type of way about that. And now they're trying to recharge and try to clear their mind and take a break because of how they feel that you're gone. Spirit, can you give me any signs for Power One Collective's enemies? Can you give me some signs on who these people might be? Okay, so I'm getting Aries and Aquarius. Any more signs, Spirit? Gemini and Aquarius. I think I can keep going on. Probably all the signs would come out if I kept going. What about the initials for the enemies for Power One? Okay, I'm getting Jake, Rochelle, Devin. I didn't get anything for I, and I didn't get anything for you. Those are the messages I have for you, Power One. I hope that you enjoyed your reading. Hi, Power Two. Welcome to your reading. Let's find out, what is your enemy's karma for hurting you? Well, first of all, they feel like, wow, we burned a bridge because we were disloyal. We were backstabbing. We couldn't be someone that Pile 2 could trust. So we burned a bridge with Pile 2. We focused on relationships, old relationships that were dead and codependent and clingy. And those codependent, clingy relationships, is what caused burned bridges with Pile 2. Because these clingy relationships didn't like Pile 2. So everyone else jumped on the bandwagon with these clingy relationships. They feel salty, bitter, and angry, and they're petty. And they're trying to stay in their delusion so they can cope with the situation of their bitterness and anger. I'm getting on this. It could be friendships. It could be exes. So people you used to date in the past where it didn't go right. I'm getting like, it could be family members that are feeling this. So they're suffering in silence. So really, they feel some type of way. They feel broken. They feel sad and in their feelings because, but they're not expressing that because they don't want to show that vulnerability. They made bad decisions about you, pile two, and that's why they're like suffering in silence and they don't want to admit that. They know that they could have restored balance with you and they could have had mutual respect. Had they been respectful towards you, they could have sustained the relationship but chose not to. And so now they're shattered and they're broken and can't sleep at night because they didn't want to show respect for you. They wanted to treat you like you were a piece of trash. Okay. So what else are they doing? I'm getting on this an ex vibe, someone in an ex that you used to deal with or date. This masculine energy, or it could even be a father figure. Maybe your father was a narcissist and treated you like trash. You were nobody to him. And so he was like, oh, I don't have to show respect. Or it's a masculine that you dated and that masculine wanted to treat you like you had no value or no worth. And so this masculine, whether it's an ex or a father figure or someone in authority, they're in their emotions and their emotions are every which away and they don't know what they're doing in their life because they're so imbalanced in their emotions. And they're upset because there's this delay in them connecting with you or reconnecting with you again because you're too busy. You're too busy doing your self-care, meditating, and healing from whatever they put you through. What else is the karma for pile two's enemies? So they're feeling stagnant. They don't see any growth in their life due to all of this chaos that they've created. But they're trying to be delusional and have some hope that somehow they'll be able to experience your good vibes, pile two. They want to be able to experience these good vibes, but you took them away from your enemies. They also feel trapped. I'm getting trapped with family ties. So I'm getting that pile two, maybe you left a family unit. Maybe you had a narcissistic mom, narcissistic dad. Maybe one of your siblings, they're competitive. They compete like to one up you, be better than you, and make your self-esteem low. They feel trapped in this family tie, this toxic system, but they also feel trapped because you left this family system. And so things are heating up because they're stressed out and worried because they can't bring you back into the fold. You're like this black sheep that decided to go your own route. Maybe they wanted you to follow traditions. Maybe they wanted you to marry the same type of into the same culture. Maybe you're LGBTQ. And you're like, I'm gonna go my own path and do what makes me happy. Maybe you don't even follow the same religion. You do your own thing. Maybe you just didn't want to be in anything toxic. So maybe they treat you poorly because they see you as a black sheep. You're the one that's different within the family and you better fall in line with what they want you to do, but you chose not to. You chose yourself over them. And so they feel trapped because how dare you choose yourself over these blood ties and this family. Whole time they're treating you like you are garbage. Your enemies are feeling hopeless and depressed and sad because they knew they were two-faced. They were being fake in your face, but plotting behind your back, wanting to figure out how they could make you fail or be sad or depressed. They feel burned out because of their two-faced behavior and the consequences of their two-faced behavior. They had an epiphany that, oh man, I'm missing pile two. I wish I could be back with pile two because they were good vibes. They had good, they were good company, but yet they can't get back with you because they're two-faced and backstabbing people. They're burned out because they wore the mask for so long and it came out, and now they're depressed because You caught on to their games. Spirit, what are the signs for these enemies? What are the, oops, oh no. Now, because I was reading the energy, the dice went every which way because the energy is in balance right now, pile 2. So what I'm picking up on is making me feel unbalanced because I can feel their energy. So I'm getting Gemini and Scorpio, and Scorpio is very, very intense. Geminis tend to talk a lot about people. The ones that, you know, the low vibrational Geminis. Tell me more, some signs. I'm getting Taurus and Capricorn. Okay. Probably will see all the signs if I keep going. What about initials for these enemies? Give me the initials. Okay. I'm getting T for, Tamara, Nicole, Anwar. I got Anwar. I didn't get H. Question mark. What's the question mark, Spirit? What does the question mark mean? They're just hoping that one day your enemies are hoping that they can, it's a question mark. They don't think that there's really an ending with you, that there's a possibility that they can reunite with you and have experienced those good vibes again. But the reality is, pile 2, it's up to you. But the fact that there are enemies, why would you want enemies back in? Right? You're peaceful now because they're no longer in your life. Those are the messages I have for you, Pile 2. I hope you enjoyed your reading. Hi, Pile 3. Welcome to your reading. Let's find out, what is your enemy's karma for hurting you? So they're salty. That's their karma, is that your enemies feel salty. They feel trapped and stuck right now. They feel, because they were operating very secretly on the low to find out ways to scheme and plot towards you. And they want to figure out like, wow, like we got found out. So now we have to figure out like, how do we escape this? Let's pretend that we didn't ever do any of this sneaky stuff towards pile 3, right? So they want to find a way to cope with all these negative emotions that they have. So they're staying in denial and saying to themselves that they didn't do any of that. I'm getting on this, that this may apply to ex-boss, could be exes that you dated in the past, or past family members that you have gone no contact with. Could be just past friends that you are no longer connected with, or just past people in a community that you no longer frequent anymore because of the drama that they created. So your enemies are feeling resentful because they were being competitive, right? They were jealous of you because you were more secure with yourself. You were more settled and stable. You made better decisions in your life to be a little bit more established. And then you would always take time to recharge yourself and clear your mind so you could be balanced. They were resentful that you were doing these things for yourself to make your life better. And they were also envious. And so what they're trying to do to cover that envy is just going to Vegas or just going out partying to try to cover up these feelings of resentment, this competitive nature that they have towards you, and this discontent. How else are they experiencing karma? They are in their feelings because you gave them the silent treatment and they feel left out now. They feel insecure and guarded, paranoid about what happened, because here you are balanced and happy. And they truly, in their hearts, they know that you were like a really good person, almost like a soulmate, someone that they could have a long-term partnership with, whether it was a relationship in terms of a love partner, a relationship in terms of a friendship, a relationship within their community, which brought a lot of good vibes, or it could be like even a relationship within a coworker setting and under a boss, but the boss was a bad boss and didn't treat you right. So just like, good quality partnerships, they know in their heart that you were a good person. And, but now they just realize that, they're in their feelings now about the ending. They feel some type of tension and stress and worry about you ghosting and leaving the connection. They're also stressed that you're happy. They're like, man, why is pile 3 happy? Because you're over here on vacay, just relaxing and having fun. You're no longer thinking about these enemies because they weren't anything valuable to keep in the first place. So why would you even waste any more time or energy on them? So they're stressed about your happiness and your peace, but you're not stressed out about them, which is their karma. They also realize that they were toxic. They deep down, they know they created arguments with you for no reason. They like to create drama and try to trigger you, make you want to have conflict with them and argue with them. And now they're puzzled and confused and they're conflicted. They don't know what to do with themselves. They feel hopeless and lost now, and they feel broken, and sometimes they can't even sleep at night. So they're not having good sleep. They're just so they're overtaken by all these negative emotions due to their toxic behavior towards you, pile 3. They're feeling hopeful and optimistic because, but they're hopeful and optimistic is really just about their narcissism. Narcissists like to stay in their little delusions where they're like, oh, well, I can have hope that pile 3 will still come back to me and I can still use them as an opportunity to bring good energy to our group, or, I can use them as grade A supply, whatever, for finances, for stability, use them as a punching bag to make their self-esteem low. Maybe they'll come back into my life. This is the mind of a narcissist. They're feeling drowning. They're feeling like they're at rock bottom. That's in their emotions. They're realizing that, you took action to make things fair and just, to go ahead and focus on meditation and self-care for your own healing. And you brought that level of justice. But also the twofold part of this meaning of legality could be that they're also going through legal issues due to owing people because of being so reckless with their rock bottom status that they're not paying their bills. So they owe a lot of people. And so that their creditors are going after them legally to get their money. Spirit, can you let me know what are the signs for these enemies? What are the signs for these enemies, Spirit? I'm getting Aries and Capricorn. Okay, any other signs, Spirit? Taurus and Pisces. What about the initials, Spirit? What are the initials for these particular enemies? So pile 3 can be, look out for. I'm getting a V for Victor, C for Catherine. I didn't get anything for G. Z, Zach. I didn't get anything for Nicole. I'm getting Nicole. Okay, so those are the messages I have for you, pile 3. I hope you enjoyed your reading.